Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trades Talk Tuesday with your host, me, Pop Culture Mechanic, with over 25 years of trades experience. I can speak on quite a few issues related to the skilled trades, and hopefully you'll come along on a nice journey to learn how to get into the skilled trades, what to expect, and see a few stories and or see a few pictures and videos and such that I have in my repertoire, as it were. So yes, starting out, just want to say hello to Jake D. How you doing, buddy? Hope your day's a little better now. People trying to charge you more for transportation, apparently. So I hope you're able to get through all that. All right. So, as I so often do, I'm going to check the news out in industry and kind of tell how the economy's doing by how well the news about what the companies are doing, whether they're closing down or whether they're building new facilities. You can sort of tell how the economy's doing. And sometimes you'll see stories that they won't play on the mainstream media. So, see about that. The fools will be made to suffer, comrade. Is good. I'm sending out the secret Woodstockian police to make example of this stooge. I'm sure. And here we go with some of the news out in industry. Let's see what's going on here. Supremix is closing a facility in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec, moving production. Oh, that's not so good. Stellantis cancels presentation at Las Vegas Technology Show due to UAW strike impact. Yes. Auto workers are still not settled on their strike yet. Another one. St. Lawrence Seaway workers issue strike notice, could walk as of midnight Saturday. So those guys are going on strike too. It's going to be hard for all the shipping through the St. Lawrence Seaway then. Canada, Ontario governments put nearly $1 billion towards EV battery parts plant. Well, let's see what that has to say. Kingston, Ontario. The federal and Ontario governments are putting nearly $1 billion combined into an electric vehicle battery component plant in eastern Ontario. This is up to $2.761 billion Umicore facility in Loyalist Township will build cathode active materials and precursor cathode active materials. Government ministers announced Monday that Ottawa is set to put $551 million towards the project, and Ontario is set to spend up to $424 million in capital costs. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said Umicore's investment is a huge vote of confidence in Ontario. The plant is going to create 600 direct jobs, and I always say in the auto sector there's 7 spin-off jobs for every 1 job that we see here, he said. I don't know if he always says that. I mean, he could be full of it, but we'll see. Right across the province, it's going to be multiples of thousands of jobs. In fact, that's going to boost the economy and activity across the mining, auto, manufacturing sectors, and the service sector as well. Federal Innovation, Science and Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne said the Belgium-based Umicore facility will bring great economic benefits to Ontario and strengthen Canada's position as the green supplier of choice. It's about jobs, it's about growth, it's about opportunities, and we are really together building Ontario as an economic powerhouse, he said. A politician? Never. Right, Jake D? Production is set to begin in early 2026, and the facility is expected to produce enough battery materials to support 800,000 electric vehicles per year. Ontario Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli said. Umicore CEO Matthias Medrek said it is the start of the company's battery material supply chain in North America. This plant will be unique. It is one of a kind because it will combine cathode active materials with precursors, and that's the first plant that will do that in North America, he said. 2 electric vehicle battery plants are also in the works in Ontario, Volkswagen in St. Thomas and Stellantis LG in Windsor. Job, a thing a politician has never had. Yes. If you are a career politician, you've made a career of talking, because that is all a politician does, is just talk. They don't do anything. They just have a gift of yapping it up. Unifor sets October 29th for Stellantis strike deadline as talks set to begin. So 29th, that's a Sunday. General Motors raises offer to auto workers union ahead of UAW bargaining update. China says U.S. moves to limit access to advanced computer chips hurt supply chains, cause huge loss. Okay, I gotta have a look into this. Anytime China starts yapping it up, you know it can't be good for us. Beijing. China vigorously protested Wednesday the U.S. Commerce Department's latest update of export controls to prevent exports to China of advanced computer chips and the equipment to make them. We can get China off of computer chips? I don't know. I thought they were the ones that made them all. Let's see what it has to say here. The revisions to U.S. rules were announced Tuesday, roughly a year after the export controls were first launched to counter the use of the chips for military applications that include the development of hypersonic missiles and artificial intelligence. China's Commerce Ministry said the controls were improper and urged that Washington lift them as soon as possible. It said that since the semiconductor industry is highly globalized, the restrictions on chips used for artificial intelligence and other advanced applications were hindering normal trade and economic activities. They violate international trade rules and seriously threaten the stability of industrial supply chains, it said, according to a transcript of a briefing on the ministry's website. U.S. semiconductor companies have suffered huge losses, and semiconductor companies in other countries have also been affected, it said. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said Beijing would take all necessary measures to safeguard its rights and interests without giving any details. We're going to do something, but we're not going to tell you what. Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. We have semiconductor companies? Apparently. In a call with reporters, U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said the restrictions are meant to protect technologies with clear national security or human rights implications. The vast majority of semiconductors will remain unrestricted, but when we identify national security or human rights threats, we will act decisively and in concert with our allies, she said. I thought Taiwan was manufacturing them mostly? I'm not sure myself. You mean what? West China? No, is that East China? West Taiwan? Apparently China hates it when you call them West Taiwan. The updates stemmed from consulting with industry and conducting technological analysis. There will now be a gray zone that will be monitored for chips that could still be used for military aims, even if they might not meet the thresholds for trade limitations. Chip exports to companies headquartered in Macau or anywhere under a U.S. arms embargo can also be restricted to prevent countries of concern from circumventing the controls and providing chips to China. Republic of China, the place Chiang Kai-shek went after the CCP took the mainland. Yes. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I know a bit of history. I studied a bit up on that, and the U.S. could have helped out Chiang Kai-shek, but they decided not to. They're like, no, that's okay. Even though he was a big help to them in World War II, they left him high and dry. The updates also introduce new requirements that make it harder for China to manufacture advanced chips in other countries. The list of manufacturing equipment that falls under the export controls also was expanded, among other changes. China's leaders view the design and manufacturing of high-level semiconductors as essential for its economic and geopolitical goals. Raimondo has said the limits on these chips are not designed to impair China's economic growth. And hey, DJ Ronnie G, good to see you. He's talking a little bit about China and their semiconductor shortages or supposed shortages because of the U.S. not wanting them to have any military grade semiconductors. America, help, allies, that is rich. It happened a long time ago. Hey, Godzillionaire, time to go back to transistors and carburetors. And don't forget points. Gotta use points for your ignition. In an August meeting, Raimundo and her Chinese counterparts agreed to exchange information about the export controls, but a senior administration official insisting on anonymity to discuss the policy said the U.S. government did not discuss with China the parameters of the revised export controls. Chinese officials are scheduled to attend a summit of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in San Francisco in November. President Joe Biden has suggested he could meet on the sidelines of the summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping, though a meeting has yet to be confirmed. The two leaders met last year following the Group of 20 summit in Bali, Indonesia, shortly after the export controls were announced. Yes, I'm sure Joe Biden had a really coherent conversation with the Xi Jinping. You're astounded we have any domestic manufacturing? Yeah, I've looked into it a little bit, and maybe you could blame Nixon for that, just because I think in the 70s, when he was the first president to go to China, he probably made some kind of backroom deal where he's like, hey, we'll send all our manufacturing to you as long as you provide us with cheap labor. And slowly, during the 70s, they moved a lot of the manufacturing to China. And then when the 80s rolled around, everybody's like, hey, how come we aren't making stuff here anymore in the U.S.? Please tell me he said konnichiwa to Xi. Export control equals it's only illegal if you do it. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Kitty Bear, over on the Rumble side. Your dad had a stroke a few weeks back. His speech makes more sense than Biden. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that sucks he had a stroke. Hopefully he's on the mend. NAFTA and the such killed domestic manufacturing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of NAFTA myself. What do we got here? Electric truck maker Rivian says construction on first phase of Georgia factory will proceed in 2024. Atlanta. Rivian Automotive will move ahead with construction on a factory in Georgia early next year. Company confirmed Thursday. California-based electric truck company made the announcement as it opens a retail location in an in-town Atlanta development, the 8th in a network of what company calls spaces that it's rolling out in select locations nationwide. The company plans additional locations in Colorado, Texas, and California in coming months. Customers can't buy a truck or SUV at Rivian's Atlanta location. The company only sells online to evade Georgia's rules requiring auto manufacturers to have dealers. But the company hopes people who have already reserved one of Rivian's vehicles or who are thinking about buying one will stop by to learn about electric vehicles, climb inside, and take a test drive. And even buy a Rivian-branded jacket or backpack. We sell a physical product so people want to experience it physically, said Denise Cherry, Rivian's Senior Director of Design and Retail Development. That's human nature. Alright, but don't you usually go to like a dealership to take a test drive to see what it's like? Are you just going to buy this thing online? I see you guys talking about coming up here. We just had on Monday our first snowfall of the year. And it wasn't that much. A couple millimeters. I mean, the roads were wet, but the snow didn't stick. It is sticking to the grass, though. So we have our first snowfall, and we had like over 190 accidents reported. So there you go. We're doing it. We're wiping ourselves out, so don't worry about it. You don't have to march on us. It's okay. We want to get looted in the round of mostly peaceful protests. It was 85 to 90 degrees here this weekend. How nice for you. It was minus 11 degrees Celsius this morning. Let's see. Oh, we should actually look these guys up and see what, let's see here. Rivian. Rivian Electric Adventure Vehicles. Okay. The R1T is ready to go. Book a demo drive or order now. Okay. Vehicles made for the planet. Sure it is. Up to 410 miles of range. This one has up to 400 miles of range. I don't know. I've never heard of these guys before. Have you guys seen it? Beat the metrics out of me. We'll see. Hope you don't get snow and ice this winter, Kitty Bear. There's no way I'll get on your moped to drive to your dad when it snows and freezes. That's a little harder, especially on a moped. You don't care about you went through heavy rain twice yesterday. Yeah, rain isn't so bad. It's when it freezes to the road. Celsius, those demon units? Yeah. Because it doesn't make sense to have 0 as freezing and 100 as boiling, right? Vehicles made for the planet using the rarest parts of the planet. Yeah. Made of all the rare minerals, yeah. Alright, well, what's this? The R1T. So it's a truck, 4-door truck. Typically delivers in 4 months or less. Or you shop their available inventory, delivery in 1 to 6 weeks. Oh, look at that. That is neat. Look at that. Can't zoom in on that. It's got a little compartment behind the very back seat, sort of like under the bed. Oh, right. Yeah, no engine, so you have like storage in the boot. Or under the bonnet, I guess. And then, yeah, they're in the back, bed of the truck. Plugging stuff in. Room for a hitch. I have a bad feeling you're gonna get less distance if you're gonna pull a trailer or something. What's the R1S? Oh, it's their SUV. Celsius makes perfect sense. Of course, Kitty Bear. Everybody uses it except for the US. Every other country uses the metric system except for the US. Zero's not freezing. It's the point ice doesn't melt and water doesn't freeze. It's the neutral point. There you go. You're thinking too much about it. We're doing this for Mother Earth. What better way to show that you care about the planet and you're saving it by buying an electric vehicle, by driving into the forest and driving all over nature. Kid looks like he's just having the best time of his life. Metrics are the preferred units of the Reds. How long have you been on the KGB's payroll, comrade? Not the KGB. What is it now? It's FBS or something, isn't it? dual motor all-wheel drive, performance dual motor all-wheel, quad motor all-wheel drive. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. 900 pounds of torque, 835 horsepower. Good Lord. Starting price. $107,000 Canadian. Or $78,000 US. There you go. $107,000. No thanks. So yeah, so much for that. This R1T. So that was for the SUV. What about the R1T, the truck? It is $100,000 or $73,000 US. No thanks. Electric car pollutes just as much as a normal car. The only thing better about an electric car is they can pull up fast than a normal car. Well, it sounds like it's got the acceleration, that's for sure. Like 0 to 60 miles an hour, so 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds for the one with the quad motors. You know, the regular just dual motor, you've got 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60. Anyways, that's what the electric truck maker Rivian. Totally off topic, but I forced you to watch all 12 episodes of My Dress Up Darling on Sunday. But did you have a good time, Godzillionaire? Like I don't give out praise, you know, just for anything. If it's got to be really excellent in my eyes, it's got to be something that's really done well for me to praise it. And yeah, My Dress Up Darling was worth that praise. Fractured in many organizations, but the two chief successors are the SVR, Foreign Intelligence, and FSB, responsible for domestic and former Soviet republics. Gee, Jake D, you sure seem to know a lot about that. Makes a comrade wonder which side you are really voting for and wanting to be a part of. Might have to talk to comrade leader about this in private. But yes, Marin. Yes, Marin is best wifey. So Rivian currently produces the R1T pickup truck and R1S SUV at the factory in Normal, Illinois. The vehicles currently cost more than $70,000 a piece. It plans a $5 billion manufacturing complex for a site east of Atlanta, where it's supposed to produce R2 vehicles with lower price tags aimed at mass market. The company is supposed to eventually hire 7,500 employees at the site near Social Circle, where grading of dirt is supposed to be completed by year's end. We are thrilled with the progress we've gotten so far, Cherry said. I mean, we are this close to finishing grading. The first phase of Rivian's factory is supposed to make 200,000 vehicles a year, starting production in 2024, with a second phase capable of making another 200,000 vehicles a year, being complete by 2030. The design of the R2 will be unveiled next year, Rivian officials said Thursday. You're on the winning side, Jake D? Oh, we shall see. What fun it is to drag race from an electric car. Perfect. Hearing the engines roar. Isn't it great that every war ever has been won by the good guys? Yeah, you got a good point there, Godzillionaire. History is written by the victors, if I recall. East Atlanta is kinda sketch? I've never been to Atlanta. State and local governments have offered Rivian an incentive package, so a bribe, worth an estimated $1.5 billion. The deadline for the company to complete its investment and hiring under the deal was extended to 2030 earlier this year. As Rivian said, it would slow its pace for capital investment, and as neighbors opposed to development of the Georgia site continued to pursue legal challenges, the company generated billions in cash with an initial public offering in 2021, but has faced questions about achieving profitability. The Rivian space at Atlanta's Ponce City market is aimed in part at easing potential buyer fears about whether they will be able to easily make long journeys in a Rivian truck while charging it, with potential journeys diagrammed on a wall. We want you to understand how to take your family on a road trip and what does charging look like and how do we start to break down some of those barriers to EV adoption. It's not up to these guys. These guys are making the vehicles. It's not up to them to provide the infrastructure. You have to have a power grid that can support the infrastructure. So you got to have a place to stop and recharge, but if the power grid can't take it, then how are you going to do it? Yeah, you're typing, yeah. Yeah, you got to slow down there, kitty bear. Type slow so you don't make mistake. You prefer hearing the engines roar. Yeah, a lot of people do. Godzilla, you plan to move to the country in a few years? Ain't no charging stations out there. No, not at all. You wonder how much coal Georgia Power is going to have to burn? A lot. Probably a lot. Here we go. Yesterday's headline, St. Lawrence Seaway shut down as workers go on strike. The St. Lawrence Seaway has shut down as hundreds of workers walked off the job Sunday. The halt is expected to affect cargo shipments immediately along the artery that runs between Montreal and Lake Erie. In a release shortly after midnight on Sunday, the union said they were unable to reach an agreement with the employer by the strike deadline, despite negotiations right up to the last moment. We cannot allow workers' rights to be compromised. We remain open to discussion and hope that the employer will reconsider its position for the good of all, said Danielle Coutier, Unifor's Quebec director, in a release. The union said this week that it remained 1,000 nautical miles apart from management on wages, the key wedge in discussion, and that it was up to the employer to avoid any transit disruption. These are jobs that require intense training, a high-level understanding of the health and safety risks, and that carry enormous responsibility for the well-being of seafarers and their cargo. They are irreplaceable, Coutier said in an earlier release. In its own statement released after midnight, the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation said the parties are at an impasse as Unifor continues to insist on wage increases inspired by automotive-type negotiations, and the Seaway will remain shut down until an agreement can be reached. The stakes are high, and we are fully dedicated to finding a resolution that serves the interest of the corporation and its employees, stated SLSMC President and CEO Terrence Bowles. In these economically and geopolitically critical times, it is important that the Seaway remains a reliable transportation route for the efficient movement of essential cargoes. The SLSMC said Friday it remained committed to the negotiation in good faith, but said progress had been slow and that the union's wage demands could lead to higher tolls. On Wednesday, it cited the potential impact on freight shipments as a major concern. So what are the odds that all these unions magically go on strike at the same point? Totally organic. Yeah, it's not even, what do you call it? It's not even election time yet. You think they're going to smarten themselves up for that? I have no idea if the unions in the U.S. like the Democrats or not. I just don't know. Charging station and gas station do not matter when you forget to recharge. Fuel up in time. You had that lesson last week. Forgot to tank your gas for your moped and ran out halfway to your dad. Oh, geez. Always check your fuel tank. Unions are very Democrat here? Okay. The article continues. Cargo movements through the seaway are an important part of North American economy and supply chain, said spokesman Jean-Aubry Morin. In particular, this labor action would impact grain movements during a period when the world is in dire need of this essential commodity, even as supply has been affected by the situation in Ukraine and the greater frequency of extreme weather events being experienced around the world. Personally, I don't think there's more events. I just think you hear about them a lot easier than you used to be able to. Because when the world didn't have the internet, you didn't know what was going on in halfway around the other side of the world in an instant. It took a while for any of that news to get to you. The corporation said it was waiting for a response for its application to the Canada Industrial Relations Board, seeking an order to confirm the application of the Canada Labour Code related to the movement of grain during a strike. It said a shutdown of the system took place during the 72-hour notice period, allowing vessels to safely clear the seaway system, and the SLSMC has a regular contract with the marine industry. There are currently no vessels awaiting to exit the system, but there are over 100 outside the system that are impacted by the situation. Some 360 workers, ranging from engineers to administrators, comprise the 5 union locals who were in negotiations with the management authority until Saturday night. Talks began in June with the help of a federal mediator and continued after Unifor issued a 72-hour strike notice to the employer on Wednesday. Last year, some $16.7 billion worth of cargo, nearly half of it grain and iron ore, traversed the St. Lawrence Seaway, a system of locks, canals, and channels that stretches more than 300 kilometers. Kitty Bear, you were lucky you only had to push a 100-kilogram moped for half a mile before you ran into a nice person willing to give you a little lawnmower fuel and managed to get to the gas station. You knew you were almost out of fuel. You had to lend money from your brother for fuel, but on the way to the gas station, you forgot to get fuel and drove past the gas station. Ha! Yeah. Oh, gas station? I don't need that. Apparently you did. Sounds like everything will be fine to you. Yeah, we'll see. That is it, though, for the news for now out in industry. Lots of unions going on strike right now. We got that electric truck maker in Georgia. Until they bring those prices down, I'm not buying an electric vehicle. I might not even buy an electric vehicle ever if I can help it. All right. Moving along. We've got how to get into a trade. This is on Indeed. You can go to Indeed and their career guide, and it'll tell you how to get into a trade. As a mechanical guy, electric vehicles are offensive to you. Yeah. Well, from one mechanical guy to another, I hear you. I like my internal combustion engine. It does just fine. Upside of a normal engine is when you throw fuel in the tank, it will start as soon as the engine gets the fuel. With an empty battery, it takes way long. Yeah, Kitty Bear. Yeah, you have to charge it up quite a bit. And it's the time it takes, too. The Tuesday news is much more depressing than the Sunday news. Yeah, I know. It was, well, it's out in industry, right? It's your more industrial news as opposed to your news about waifus and such. Good to be in the know, though. This says, many trades are in high demand as the need for more experienced labor employees continues to grow. There are several types of trades that may be explored and researched before deciding to enter a trade. Trade jobs tend to be in industries such as transportation, construction, manufacturing, and maintenance. However, trades are also in career sectors like culinary arts, healthcare, and cosmetology. In this article, we provide a definition of what trades are, list trades, and discuss how you can enter a trade. What are the trades? Trades are jobs that require advanced or specialized skills that are gained through experience, on-the-job training, and vocational courses. Trade careers are typically known to be more stable and require technical ability. Trades are often jobs that may be physically or mentally demanding in some way, sometimes both. List of trades. There are many trades you may consider when you choose a career path. Here are some trade jobs categorized by industry that you may consider. Labor, you squalid wretches, like being OnlyFans streamer. Mechanical trades work with a variety of heavy and light machinery. Typically, they work on fixing the machinery rather than operating it. Here are some examples. In this field, HVAC installer, machinist, locksmith, elevator mechanic, auto mechanic, mechanical drafter, mechanical insulator, mechanical installer. And I have a story for you guys after about mechanical insulators. You guys will probably get a good kick out of it. Experience and physical abilities, I thought those were considered hate crimes. Yeah, right, eh? Yeah. Construction trades. This trade encompasses many different construction jobs that deal with flooring, masonry, carpentry, and plumbing. These jobs may require strength, coordination, and stamina. Here are some examples of the construction industry. Carpenter, electrician, painter, mason, carpet installer, welder, plumber, landscaper, dredger, fencer, heavy equipment operator, pile driver. You do love your insulator stories? That's good. They're almost as good as scaffolder stories. Industrial trades. This trade includes jobs that deal with technology and manufacturing. These trade jobs involve building, designing, and problem solving. Here are some examples of industrial trades. Iron worker, steam engineer, cargo freight engineer, line installer and repair, asbestos worker, paving equipment operator, metal fabricator, boiler makers. OnlyFans and Alabama story. All right. Medical trades include a variety of healthcare jobs that require about 2 years of education and training. Medical trade jobs can involve working with patients, technology, or assisting other medical staff. A few examples are respiratory therapist, phlebotomist. Not quite sure what a phlebotomist is. Clinical laboratory technician, paramedic, dental assistant, medical assistant. All these jobs sound like hard work. You're deathly allergic to that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, God forbid anybody ever do some hard work, physical labor. Oh, a phlebotomist is someone who takes... Thank you, Godzillionaire. I knew one of you guys would know it. Somebody that takes blood samples. Okay. Culinary arts. These trade jobs tend to be more creative and often require a different set of skills than some of the manual labor trade jobs. Here's a few examples. Hairstylist, nail technician, beautician, makeup artist, esthetician, chef, baker, pastry artist, restaurant manager, and a food technologist. I don't know what a food technologist does, but it doesn't sound good. Probably making like Frankenfood and stuff like that. I don't know if I like that. Ice, baby. Yes, internal combustion engine, DJ Ronnie G. You got her. Kitty Bear, you have to say that lawnmower fuel, your moped did make a nice smoke screen at twice the oil in the fuel because your moped mixes its own oil. Lawnmower fuel had oil mixed in it. Oh, yeah, you would have been blowing blue everywhere. Choosing a trade as your career path can be rewarding and exciting. There are a few different ways you can get into a trade. Some companies in certain industries choose to hire entry-level employees without education, and they train them in-house. Others require certifications, an associate degree, or a registered apprenticeship before hiring. Here are some steps that may take you to enter into a trade. Complete high school. Step number 1, complete high school. The minimum educational requirement for most trade jobs is a high school diploma or GED. And sometimes you can get away with grade 10. At least it was when I was getting my trade certificate. You could get away with being and just having a grade 10 education. While you're in high school, you may consider taking a shop class or woodworking class through your school or another local program. This may help you decide what trade you'd like to enter. You can also practice some safe trade skills on your own at home to get an idea of what interests you. Also at home, you could tune into my live stream, and I can answer your questions about trades too. That's also, they didn't put that on this list here, but that should be on there. Watch my live stream. Watch Trades Talk Tuesday. TIL about the term auto cycle. Auto cycle. I don't know if we want to know. Number 2, pick a trade. Once you complete high school or your GED, it's time for you to consider which trade interests you the most. If you prefer being creative and working with your hands rather than sitting at a desk, then you may consider more of the skilled trades. If you know you like to fix cars, then you may consider becoming an auto mechanic. Trade careers may directly correlate with your hobbies. For instance, you may try writing down the things you like to do, and then write down a few descriptions that interest you next to it. Circle the things that the jobs and your hobbies have in common. You may end up choosing the trade that has the most in common with your interests. Some other good ways that may assist you with picking a trade are to talk to a few people who work in the trades that you're interested in. Research pay and growth for each trade, and review job opportunities. And tune into Trades Talk Tuesdays. That'll help you out too. Number 3, select an educational program. You may choose to go to a technical school or take certification classes at a community college. Each trade has different requirements, and not all trades require formal education. However, taking formal education classes can help you gain a competitive advantage over other candidates. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Many trades accept certificates instead of requiring an associate's degree or higher. This means you can take classes that are directly related to your career and obtain a certificate in 2 years or less, depending on the program. It is recommended that you research the requirements for your trade you are interested in entering before you enter an educational program. This way you know the specific requirements before you begin a program. Number 4, obtain an apprenticeship. The next step is to search for an apprenticeship program that allows you to develop skills while you are trained on the job. You may find apprenticeships through local trade unions, training institutions, professional associations, or employment agencies and programs. Another option you may consider is to apply for a registered apprenticeship program that is offered through public and private sector businesses. There may be some ongoing classes that are required to take during your apprenticeship. Apprenticeships typically take about 1 to 6 years to complete, depending on the trade, and you can expect to learn your trade, gain specialized skills, and receive some payment for it. Sadly, classroom certs impress the HR types more than years of practical useful experience. That's true, but you nowadays, to get your foot in the door, you just have to have those certificates or whatever just to throw them on there, just to get your foot in the door. Like, if you really want to work for a company and you want to get in there, you got to do anything you can to get that interview. Number 5. Another item that you may need to acquire is a license that assures your right to work or practice your trade. Licensing is not necessary for all trades, and the requirements may vary by state. Most license exams focus on things such as building codes, regulations, and ordinances. You may have to complete a certain amount of classroom hours and on-the-job training hours to qualify for licensing tests. Some trades that typically require a license are electricians, HVAC technicians, plumbers dealing with water and gas, machinists, paramedics, asbestos workers, elevator technicians, hairstylists, and makeup artists. And finally, step 6, become a journeyman. After you complete your apprenticeship, you can become a journeyman because a journeyman suggests that you have passed necessary examinations and have put in enough on-the-job training to practice your trade under your own license, rather than working under the license of a more experienced tradesperson. Depending on your trade, you may need to work as a journeyman anywhere from 1 year to 5 years before you can become a master tradesperson or master tradesman. Why did they go from journeyman to tradesperson? Like, just say tradesman. Master tradesman can work in supervisory roles and pay is typically increased due to your expertise. So I don't know if it's probably, it's been enough years for me. I could probably call myself a master tradesman, but I don't. I don't worry about it. Have I thought about doing a stream on making a resume for getting a trades job? You know, Angry Canadian suggested that to me a while back. I could do it again. I have done one, but I could do it again. I had my own resume that I used as an example, and I had it up on the screen, and we went through each one, like what you should put on there. And really, when you want to get that job, you look at the job advertisement, like it shows you what they're looking for, and you pretty much, whatever they ask for, you put that in your resume as well. That should help you. But yeah, I could do it again, Godzilla, no problem. We could have like a good old resume stream again. But that's it for, and this is on Indeed. Like, these guys, you know, they help you out with their career guide, you know, and you can look for jobs on here as well. You just type in whatever you want to type in, and it'll pop up in your neighborhood. Yeah, you got to play buzzword bingo on the job application. Yes. Also, what I've heard is that companies will have like an AI just read over your resume, and if it doesn't have certain phrases in it or whatever, it just pitches it out. So you got to put in those phrases that you think they want to see, and so that they'll get moved on to the next, passed along to the next level after it gets through that preliminary AI computer going over it. The one fella I had on, B-Man, he was on my stream there as the instrumentation electrician. He has a buddy that works at Suncor, so big oil place. And his buddy works in HR, and he says, yeah, you have to have these phrases because the AI, the computer, will look through your resume, and if it doesn't have it, it just pitches it out. And Jake D's got the right idea. Back in the day, it helped if you put in an envelope with a few $100s. You just staple a $20 bill to your resume. And that was Indeed there. You got enough time for one more? Or should we go right to some pictures here? Getting along here. Maybe we'll go right to the pictures. It would be okay with AI evaluating resumes if we didn't have so many HR people. I know, there is so many of them out there, isn't there? Okay, first things first. Like that, and like this, and capture this. There we go. So I found this the other day. So it goes up to, what is that? 150 psi, and it also goes to minus 30 inches of mercury. But I think somebody wrapped this up or something, or put too much pressure on. So this gauge is not pointing where it should point. So it looks to me, and I don't know what happened because nobody, needle's not looking so good. Yeah. Well, Kitty Bear says, being a guardsman used to pay well, but there are less jobs for them now. They started using robot arms a decade ago. Now you can only work one on a back loader collecting old paper. Ah, okay. So yeah, nobody told me what happened to this thing. I'm pretty sure what they did is they wrapped it so it hit this nut or this screw here, and that bent it here, and then it came back and it hit this thing, and it looks like it put a little bend in it right here. So yeah, there you go. That's the life of a gauge around where I'm at. But I'll show you this next one. You'll get a kick out of this. Yeah, or it hit 300 psi, yeah. 300 the hard way. Whatever these guys are doing, don't do it anymore. That's been more than the speedometer in your dad's old RV. Yeah, it sure did. Check out this one. I found somebody brought this to me. This one goes up to 300 psi, but I don't know what happened to it. Nobody knows either. Nobody's telling me what happened to that. Why did it shatter like that? That's crazy. But we had to go and replace this one. And it's a Wicca gauge too, so they're more expensive. When you're fading, you must sleep. You have to pretend I'm a productive member of society for 8 hours tomorrow. Okay, Jake D. Good seeing you. Thanks for coming out, buddy. So, yeah, a NACE gauge, no less. Yep. Yeah, so, that was crazy. I don't know how it got shattered. Das Vidan. Yeah. All right, Jake D. Have yourself a good night. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what happened. So I might never know what happened to this thing, but it's like something run into the center of it. Just looks, I don't know. And just taking a picture of sunrise. I just had to. The sun was coming up. As you can see, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I was like, yeah, okay. Take a picture of sunrise. It looked good. Okay, here we go. Here's the insulator story. So we've got these clasps, and these clasps hold an insulated box together around a piece of equipment, right? So you've got these clasps, and so everything stays warm. You want everything to keep the heat in. So that's what these insulated boxes are for. They go around valves and such and keep them warm. But you got to watch out for contractors. When contractors are working on your job site, apparently you have to keep track of the work they do, because then they do, like here it is. There's the class, but then they do sketchy, stupid stuff like this. They take pieces of they take shards of sheet metal and try to use those as a pin to hold that clasp from opening up. Like that. So I don't know who thought they were a genius and wanted to do that it would be a good idea, but they should get their hand slapped for that. You don't do that. You don't cut sharp shards of sheet metal and use them as a cotter pin or a hairpin or whatever it is. Because this is dangerous. When a guy has to open this up to get inside, he has to grab this thing, which is razor sharp, So instead of doing this, the contractor could have come to us and said, hey, do you guys have any hairpins or cotter pins? And we would have said, yes, we do. Here's some. But no, instead they decided to cut shards of sharp steel. Like, look at that. It's got a point on it. And use that instead. So let that be a lesson to you guys. Always watch the contractors to see what they're doing. Even if you trust them, go and look at their job after, because you never know what they're going to do. Like that's just ridiculous to me. You're going to do something like that, you need a good you need your hand slapped. So yeah, I can't believe I found that. I was out showing one of our vendors. You know, he wanted to see I think what's underneath this is what do they call it? A sight glass. So he wanted to see the information on the sight glass, and I'm like, oh, just a minute, I'll open the box up. And yeah, sure enough, a razor sharp piece of steel is there. And I was just blown away. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah. Good camera though. Always have yourself a nice, good quality camera. I know a lot of people use their camera phones and all that, but I just use a straight up Canon camera, and it's got good. Like this is at 100% right here. Like it is very good resolution. PSI, kilopascals, and mercury. Yeah, DJ Ronnie G. We sometimes measure things in a vacuum, so we need the inches of mercury. And you know, kilopascals, that's like metric, and then there's always obviously PSI. Must have been a lot of pressure. I don't know. Could have been. Kitty Bear, the RV had a top speed of 120 kilometers per hour, but driving in Germany on the highway in the dark, we heard a weird ticking. Next day, the mule was bent. Guess we went downhill past 120 kilometers an hour. Yikes. But yeah, how ridiculous this is. So we're gonna what we're gonna do is get in touch with the contractor that did the job and be like, hey, what's this all about? And if it comes down to it, we'll be like, yeah, well, you know what? We're not going to use you guys anymore. We'll find somebody else to do installation. So that's the way you deal with people out in industry. If you have a contractor that's going to do that on your site, you have every right to be like, you know what? You guys are no longer welcome on site, and we'll find somebody else. Because you pay them good money, and if they give you that kind of quality service, you are just not going to put up with that. The sharpest thing you handle as an electrician was the wire we used to tie the PVC tube to the rebar. Sometimes you cut the wire and it snapped back, and the end was holding launch. Unrolling launched in your yikes. Wire was sharper than a syringe needle. Didn't even feel it go into your arm. Yeesh, that is sharp when you don't even feel it. But yeah, that's my insulation story, and really, like I say, you always keep an eye on these guys. They try to get away with stuff, and it's like, what made somebody think that was a good idea? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this instead. It'll be fine. Nobody'll get hurt. Nothing will happen. Just blows my mind that somebody thought that was a good idea. Oh, let's see. Do I have anything else for you guys? Let's see here. Oh, I'm getting this modified. I showed you guys the last time. This is getting modified. This is my hose connection going into our pit, our sulfur pit. I'm going to get this modified because it doesn't quite, it's a prototype, so it doesn't quite work as good as it could. So I've got some parts coming. I'm going to modify this, It's going to get shortened up a bit. I'm going to shorten that nipple up. I'm going to turn this 90 into a 45. So it'll be a little closer to the lid and a little bit of different angles to help drain the sulfur. And it'll be on a swivel cam lock. So it'll be able to rotate easily and not leak. So yeah, flow problems because I made it, I didn't calculate how tall it had to be. So it's a little bit tall, so the liquid stays in the hose where it should try to drain all the way out so it doesn't clog up when it gets cold. So yeah, so I will take this. I've sent this out. To get it shortened, so it'll come back welded up closer to the ground or closer to the lid. And then yeah, I'll take this 90 out and put in a 45 instead. That'll help. And yeah, the swivel cam lock will do wonders for this. And then yeah, I'll connect up the hose, and then we should be good. It should be all right. But yeah, a little bit of modification. That's what's going on that. So sometimes you prototype things, you think they're going to do okay, and then you realize they got to do a little bit more work. Did you bury your nuts because you pushed the wire further so it came out the other side? You made a twist in it so you could hang a hammer from it? Freaked everybody out who saw me? Well, yeah, it's going to freak everybody out. Like, yeah, don't do that. Hose before flows. Oh, Godzillionaire. Ugh. Or a careless hit. Yeah. But yeah, that's that guy. He's getting modified, so I should have new pictures for you guys when it comes back and I have it installed. What else? Maybe I'll save that for next time. I do get enough clamping force on the gasketed flange, and that is because it's on that checker plate you saw. It does. It's just a rubber gasket, so it conforms very well to the checker plate. Get a close up here. You see how it conforms to the contours of that checker plate? So it does all right. It doesn't leak out of there at all. Also because the nipple drops down about a foot underneath the lid. So this is just to keep the rain out of the pit. It keeps the rain out. Viton or EPD? I don't think it's EPDM. I think it's just Viton. But yeah, it just goes around. It's actually got a hole through it, and the pipe goes through the hole in the gasket. So the gasket covers the whole square. And like I say, just to keep rain out, because the rain gets in. If the rain mixes in with the sulfur, what do you get? Sulfuric acid, and that's not good. So it's just to keep the rain out. But now, because it does make a good job at sealing, whenever it gets loaded up, all the vapor has to go somewhere. And it starts to come back out the hose where the guys are. And that's not good. So we are spending money to put a vent in on the far side. We're going to put an 8-inch vent to let out any of the vapor when they offload. So that will help out. And hopefully the guys will not get doused with all the vapor, sulfur vapor. So, but yeah, this thing contours very well to the checker plate. And yeah, I think I did those 3/8 diameter bolts. So I had the drill and tap in the lid, and it seemed okay. We can just vent to atmosphere. Yeah, it's we don't need to do an accumulator or anything like that. Yeah, it's a heated sulfur pit. So you just put molten sulfur in there, and yeah, it would come out before I installed that new piece. It had the old one was I have a picture of the old one here. Show you what it looks like. Find it. But yeah, it had a hole that would just all the stuff, all the vapor would come out of it. Oh, that's not it. But yeah, this should work out okay. Like I said, I'm gonna have some pictures for you guys once we get it all installed, and we get the new. They're gonna have to pull the lid off to put that vent on because they're gonna have to weld a flange on. So they have to pull the lid off, put the flange on, and then put it back on over the pit. You love that Canada is going to ban cow farts eventually, but molten sulfur is fine to vent. Fugitive emissions, that's what they call it. But yeah, it's a crazy mixed up world, isn't it? I'm excited to have that all fixed up though, because it's been a long time, and I want to. My job there is to repair things for sure, but I also like to make improvements on things and wherever I can. So if I can make it so that the guys have an easier time offloading trucks and all that kind of good stuff, makes their lives easier and not as pain, and I feel I'm doing a good job. So it's what I like to do: make improvements where I can, not just for myself, but for everybody, because we all got to work there. We all got to get along. So better to do things for the benefit of others. Those long-term projects are so satisfying to finally finish. Yes, they are. I don't like to have any that are too long-term. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Hey, if you're doing your job well, no one knows you exist, right? That's a little bit tougher because, well, let's just put it this way. There was, 5 of us at the plant today? 2 management, 2 operators, and me. So I don't work it's not a giant company with lots of people. So I don't have a supervisor. The first guy I talked to is the operations manager. Second guy I talked to, plant manager. That's it. That's all there is. It's good in some ways and not good in others, but having a small crew, like there's no hiding. I have stuff to do and I have to get it done, and that's it. Kitty Bear, it did get you fired. You were fired for having dangerous piercing on the job. Stupid technicality to be fired on. It's dangerous. Yeah, I just made it. People only know who I am once things are foobar. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it when things get foobarred. You can make some vapor rub. Oh, DJ Ryan G. But yeah, that's I think I'm gonna start wrapping her up here, fellas. This was a fun time. Nice to chat with you guys about the skilled trades. You guys coming out, listening. Please do me a favor, hit that like button or wherever platform you're listening to me on, whether it's on Kick or Rumble or YouTube or Twitch. Hope you guys had a good time. Sulfuric vapor reminds you of a USCSB video. Yeah, you know, I don't care for the smell of that stuff. Like, if I'm around the sulfur pit, it's, yeah. I throw on the old respirator because it hurts your lungs if you don't protect them. You know, it gets mixed in with the water in your lungs, and then all of a sudden you got sulfuric acid in your lungs, and that's not good. Yeah, so hey, if you guys could spread the word, tell your friends about old Pop here. I come in here on Tuesdays and talk about the trades. You know, because it's like it's what I like to talk about. You know, I do enjoy my job. A lot of people can't say that, but when you can enjoy the job you're doing, the career you've chosen, I mean, that's a win right there. So, you know, it doesn't feel like going to work. Except for waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. That feels like going to work. There's other good channels out there too you guys can enjoy. Like Mike from Pacific 414. There's Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner. Ronan66. And DJ Ronnie G, who I have seen stream a lot more recently. So it was good to see you doing that, DJ Ronnie G. There's Brandon the Anime Guy, the Notorial Lifeform, Angry Canadian, who is in Japan. The last thing I saw, he streamed Super Mario Wonder. That was a fun time. Except he starts playing when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning my time, so I only get to see him on the back half of his stream when I'm getting ready for work. There's our comrade leader, Whoopa. Hopefully he gets his streams up and going again. I like watching his chill streams. And then there's Punkwaddle from Floral from Under a Rock. And he has his own YouTube channel as well. I have a Discord. It's called The Shop because, you know, all the tradesmen hang out at the shop where we do some of our best work. And that's where we also shoot the breeze too, so that's a fun time. You should come hang out. Coming up Saturday, game stream. I am working my way through Castlevania 3. I've made it up to Dracula. I'm trying to finish this guy before the end of the month because, you know, that's the end of Spooktober. And then it'll be on to something else. Coming up after that, Sunday Anime Chat. This Sunday, that will be the 29th. I'm going to have an open stream. So, if you would like to stop by and chat about anime on my open stream on Sunday, it's at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. You're more than welcome to come on and we'll have a good chat, hang out for a bit. Have a damn good time, I hope. Finally, it's back to Trades Talk Tuesday, and that's on Halloween. We don't do much anything for Halloween, so just going to have a nice stream and say farewell to October. Because in November, my new theme for my anime stream comes out, and you'll have to tune in next Sunday to see what it's going to be. I'm not going to tell you now. You have to tune in on Sunday. What will the theme of November be? You guys might have some ideas, but I don't know if you'll get it. And that's it. That's all, everyone. Really appreciate you guys coming out. Makes me very grateful. Hope you had a fun time. I know I did. So until Saturday, everyone, I have been Pop Culture Mechanic, and I am signing off.